Hi everyone, welcome back. Today I wanted to talk to you about three pretty serious subjects. Some you may already know about, maybe you don't, but we're just gonna talk about them real quick here. And the first one is the Twindemic, or that's what they're calling it. And they've actually been talking about this for a few months now. And that is basically the country going through COVID during the flu season. Now, I hope you guys are all well. Just found out my brother has COVID, one of my brothers, but he's not terribly ill, so that's good. And, you know, he's staying at home and has been at home for a while now, so my view on it is I'm kind of going to do a little of the both. Like every year for flu, this is how I prepare my house during flu season. My first thing is I always open windows. No matter how cold it is outside, and it gets pretty cold in the winter in Wisconsin, but I will crack windows just even for a few minutes. A couple times during the day. You really need to get that fresh air in, and try and get some of them germs and air pollution out. So throughout the summer with COVID, they did say ventilation was really important and to keep your windows open as much as you could. And so I've always found that to be good advice. I've been doing that since I was a kid, actually, now that I think about it, because my mom used to holler at me saying, "What are you trying to do? Heat the whole south side of Milwaukee?" Yeah, kids don't think about their parents paying the bills, right? But yeah, so that's the first thing I do. Then I also burn herbs. And there's several herbs where there have been studies that show it does clean the air. It will get rid of bacteria and viruses. The two herbs I use most are sage and bay leaf. And I'm going to give you guys a whole bunch of links so you can check all this stuff out for yourself. Look in the description box for all these links I'll tell you about. But I do that, and I probably do that once a month. And then, of course, I keep everything clean as much as possible. You know, everything gets wiped down with some kind of soap and water. It doesn't have to be antibacterial, this, that, and the other thing. You just want to wipe, you want to make sure to get the germs off, you know, and soap helps to get things off and the friction of rubbing. That's why soap and water works so well for your hands. The friction and the soap. So make sure your house is clean, especially kitchen and bathrooms, because that's where people are most of the time. Whoever lives in that house, they'll be in the kitchen and the bathroom. And your bedroom too, you know, you spend a lot of time in your bedroom, make sure you crack a window in there. Another thing you can do is start supplementing with zinc. Zinc is great for your immune system. So go ahead and start taking some of those. I take vitamin D as well, usually starting in October, November, because it works great for your immune system as well. But being as I live so far north, we don't get a lot of sun. So, you know, my body's not making much of it. So anyhow, for now, that's pretty much what I do to prepare for flu. So I think, you know, that way I'm good, but I'm also going to keep up, you know, with the COVID recommendations in that, you know, I'm not going to go to anything, any big events or things where there's a lot of people where I don't know them, and, you know, I'm not going to be standing right up on top of each other, still going to social distance and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully I'll be good and you'll be good and it'll be fine. The second thing I wanted to mention is the trucker strike. Now I'm sure you've probably heard about it, and I've been kind of keeping an eye on it because we have heard of trucker strikes before, and thankfully not a whole lot came of them. If they did strike, it didn't really cause much of a problem. But this one seems to really be picking up steam. And it's not just on November 29th. Everybody keeps hearing that date, but that is the last day of it. It's supposed to be the 26th through the 29th, and that's 4 days. And the other thing that's kind of unusual or different with this trucker strike is that owners of trucking companies are supporting it. And that is definitely different. Before, it would be independent truckers or just, a few company truckers. But now it's independents and company sponsored truckers. So I don't know. Keep an eye on that because, gosh, we need our truckers. I mean, pretty much, at least in the U.S., everything would come to a standstill, as far as food and supplies go, like your toilet paper and paper towel. And as far as I know, from what I've read, they are saying that any truckers transporting, medical supplies or, needful things like that, where people could end up really getting hurt or messed up if their stuff doesn't come in, they're telling those truckers, not to participate. So they don't want to hurt anyone, but they want their point taken. And when they've done it in the past, it didn't make a dent, and so they weren't really heard. So they want to make sure they're heard this time. So you might want to make sure to have milk and bread and eggs, that kind of stuff on hand before this starts on November 26th. I guess we really won't know, how big of an impact this is going to make until then. So, got to have all your Thanksgiving stuff ahead of time, right? Then there's, I don't know what you would even call it, a globalist plan called the Great Reset. If you haven't heard of it, I definitely will leave a link. You can go right ahead and read everything I've read and research it yourself. And this is being put on by the World Economic Forum. And it's a lot of bigwigs, powerful people from around the world, basically trying to change our world. And this is the time they've chosen to do it. And that includes everything from environmental issues to a cashless society to basically socialism. And they want it done quick. It's part of, I believe, Agenda 2030. And if you don't know about that, I'll leave you a link for that too. It used to be called Agenda 21, but now it's Agenda 2030. And it's how they want the world to be different by 2030. But now they're just kind of speeding it up a bit. They basically want a borderless world with equality for all. On the surface, that sounds great, doesn't it? But yeah, it's not great, and it's coming to a town near you. And part of the Great Reset, well, they don't say it's part of it, but there's put on by the Rockefeller Foundation. This one's called Reset the Table. And that is about changing our entire food system. And that's for around the world, not just in the US. But how to slimline it, how to make sure no one in the world ever goes hungry, which would be great. We would love to have an end to world hunger. But the things they're proposing, no. That is kind of more socialism and wanting to basically get rid of small family farms. And, you know, so most of us would be eating off of, especially those in cities, off of corporate farms. And we get what they give kind of thing. You know, it's kind of complex, but yet it's not. I will have links to that as well. But there's just a whole lot of change on the horizon. You know, the powers that be are really taking this COVID time to ramp up their efforts on changing everything, on the globalist agenda. You know, how we can all become one world with a one world government and a cashless society. And in some ways that sounds wonderful, but really it isn't. They're looking at where there is no private property, where all of us, we don't own anything. We rent it. You know. And our laws would all be changed in ways we wouldn't want. You know, you can't be a sovereign country if you don't have borders. So a lot of things feel like they're out of our control lately, and some of them really are. But we know who's in control. And that's what we got to keep doing. We got to keep praying and know that God is in control. And as Christians, one way or another, we'll get through this. People in general will get through it, but I feel like Christians have the edge in where we have the Father behind us. We can have peace in time of chaos, and there's a lot of chaos coming our way. Be aware, you know, don't hide from it. Know what's going on. Research, look into it. Don't be afraid. You know, don't go cowering in a corner somewhere, you know, with the sky is falling. But just be aware, you know, it's hard to find decent news these days. Everything's slanted. But I have found with with the Rockefellers and the World Economic Forum, they're putting it right out there. They're not trying to hide anything, so you can read exactly what their intentions are. And it's not a conspiracy. These are billionaires, billion-dollar companies putting their money and their power behind this, including, you know, Prince Charles, Prince Philip. There's the Gates. There's a whole bunch of them. It's not a conspiracy if they tell you exactly what it is they plan on doing. And they have the money and power to do it. So, anyhow, I thought I would just chat you up on that and see where you are. You know, go ahead and leave some comments. Let me know what your thoughts are on this. And, you know, the more we talk about it, the more we spread the word on some of this, I feel like that is something we're doing. And somehow, you know, we can have our voices heard. Whether it makes a difference or not, I don't know. But we gotta try, right? So anyhow, thanks for watching, you guys. I really do appreciate it. It was nice talking to you. And you take care.